Again, thank everyone for being here this evening and listening to this exciting information. Kind of a recap of the announcements that were made at the convention. And folks, I tell you what, I was excited about Savings Highway before the event, but after the event, it feels like it's a whole new company. And so I'm very excited to be able to share this information with you. You guys, this is really speaking from the heart. This is not hype. I really believe that Savings Highway Global will be $1 billion company here in the next 5 years, give or take a little. You know, it might be a little bit longer, or possibly, guys, with you guys joining the company, possibly even less. So as I mentioned, this is based on really solid information. And first of all, it's, kicking this off, I'm basing that on the announcements that we're hearing. And then also the leadership that Jeb talked about, I'm basing it on that. And then based with the leadership, the commitment to excellence that the leadership has. And one of my mentors, who's made billions, literally billions of dollars in the industry, he says it's too bad that they don't teach, how to look for an opportunity, because for a lot of people, by the time the opportunity really is in, perfect, if you will, super world class, you kind of missed it, right? So what you're doing is you're looking for a company that is poised to make that vertical growth that we've seen many times in companies. So I'd like to share a little bit of an illustration. I'm sure most of us have experienced this before. You're driving in traffic, and what's happening? Well, the lane next to you, it seems to be, it's moving faster. So it seems like, well, that's going to be your best path. We're not patient. It's like, okay, maybe I better go over there. That'll get me there faster. Well, inevitably, we know what happens. Of course, that lane slows down, and the lane we were in suddenly is speeding along. We're thinking, man, if I would have just stayed there, I would have been able to get where I wanted to go. So, folks, right now, my encouragement is to get on and stay on the Savings Highway with Savings Highway Global. Recognize where you're at right now. As I mentioned, folks, today, this is not the same opportunity that it was before the convention. I really don't believe that it is. And that's based on the announcements that we're going to talk about. And based on the improvements I see because of the leadership, starting with Mr. Steve Gresham and the other leadership folks, I believe that 1 year from now, it's not going to be the same company. It's not going to be Savings Highway. It'll be Savings Superhighway. That's the direction that we're going. So folks, recognize where you're at. And that's what I want to get across with you here today, because I've been part of the companies that have gone through that vertical lift, and I've never seen a company more poised for that vertical lift on the way to being $1 billion company than Savings Highway Global. And now the announcements, it's where I really want to spend the bulk of the time, is really emphasizing the significance of the announcements that we're talking about here. So starting with this new travel engine. In our gold program, folks, Jeb, who's built a $1 billion company in the past, he says, well, what we really need is a really great international product. Folks, we have a much improved travel engine that we can market globally. And what an incredible opportunity, folks. Now, also at the event, there's some announcements that the lower your bills would be paid out on the unit level. And guys, this is one of the mega announcements that is really going to drive our check. I was in a legal services company where we had people that would go out and call on corporations and create some big, some large chunks of business. One person can go out and sign up a group and get a lot of volume. That's what we're talking in lower your bills right now. See, because before the weekend, that was only paid out to the person that made the sell and their sponsor, and nobody else made any money, directly. It certainly helped their team members to be stronger, and we're happy for them. But now, guys, the companies negotiated and earned more of the pie, so that extra pie is being shared throughout the 10-level unilevel system, guys, and that is a game changer. Right now, or prior to the weekend, there was no residuals on the unilevel. And guys, as you build your business, certainly we're focused on building out the matrix, but the workers are going to have a much larger unilevel. And the fact that there's now residuals for group business paid through the lower your bills, guys, is a huge game changer. Now, the next product that Mr. Cornell talked about at the convention is another game changer, folks. This is incredible. I'm not going to get into all the details of the insurance product, but the same thing. You're going to have individuals that have the relationships. They'll go out and open, large chunks of business, and it could just supercharge our overrides through the 10-level unilevel. Guys, this is absolutely huge. And as you build an organization, you really come to appreciate what a game changer that this is. So what we all feel compelled to do is build a network, folks, because the people that build the network, some people will go out and seek out the business, and there's people that have those relationships and the expertise, and so they'll be joining our team, and they'll be working those businesses. It's up to you whether you want to work to lower your bills or the insurance products. But if you build a network, folks, then you'll be able to profit from that significantly, even if you didn't know anything about it. So that's how significant that it is. Now, in order to build that network, folks, there's been some upgrades in the contest and in the compensation that Steve listened to the leaders, and they said yes. He says, yes, these adjustments make sense. And also additional compensation that Mr. Chris Oliver is going to get into later here this evening. That's mind-boggling, folks. It's just really exciting. Now, the next couple of parts are not new, but I wanted to point this out because I've built a significant team in several network marketing organizations. And folks, normally, and this is something that's not you don't see it very often, okay, and that is normally you have to build at least 2 organizations, if not 3 organizations, even to make any money. Well, folks, with this compensation plan, one person can change your life. So as you're building your team, you're building the matrix, you're building the unilevel. If one person goes off and takes off, folks, you can capitalize on that and have a substantial income. And yes, there are some qualifiers, but they're within the reach that anybody, if they were serious, can go accomplish in a week. So folks, this is an incredible compensation. Now, the fact that Steve Gresham is, Savings Highway, through the feedback of the leaders, has put this additional bonus money on the table is exciting, folks. Now, one thing I want to point out is this bonus money, there's no games, there's no gimmicks, there's no gotchas. Yes, you do have to, in order to receive these additional bonuses, you do have to have it charged a second month. But boy, that is extremely fair. Most of the time, those bonuses and commissions, you have to have the client on the books for like a year. So, folks, this is the fairest, the most lucrative and fairest compensation plan I've seen in decades of the industry. So I just wanted to point that out, folks. Now, the other reason, besides these recent announcements, why I'm so fired up about the future of this company, folks, is the leadership. And of course, it starts with Mr. Steve Gresham. It's his vision, his values, his integrity, which has attracted leaders like Mr. Tim Jones and Mr. Bill Constane and John Olive. And folks, these leaders have been with Steve, through thick and thin, and they have brought some incredible value to the company that's immeasurable, that most people have no idea of the value that they're bringing. But it's, because of Steve's value, what he stands for, these folks literally have been willing to walk over hot, fiery coals to make this company successful. And it's because of them, this company has continued to move forward and attracted people like Mr. Jeb Tyler. Now, talk about, if your goal is to build $1 billion company, wouldn't it make sense to partner with the guy who's done it? Okay, now Jeb has built a company that did 150 million a year. True, it wasn't $1 billion in 1 year, which is our goal. But folks, that's a pretty good start. He's done over $1 billion in business, and that's who I want to hang my hat with. That's who I want to lock arms with, Mr. Jeb Tyler, and as well as his leaders, his generals, Mr. Chris Oliver, who you're going to hear about tonight, a consummate professional, and Derek Taylor and Mr. Isaiah Searston. These guys have made millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars in the industry. And because they're here and who they are, not only like-minded, but like-hearted, these gentlemen are people I'm proud to be in business with. Steve's proud to be in business with. And folks, you can have your confidence that these leaders, and there's many others, and I don't mean to leave anyone out, but when I flew out to Florida in February to really engage with the company, this is what I saw. And I said, this is incredible. There's no doubt this company's going to $1 billion. Now, the third point I'd like to make is Brian Tracy, one of my mentors over the years, he talks about the vital functions theory, or the 1000% formula. And it's kind of like the slight edge. A lot of us have heard about the slight edge, a book written by Mr. Jeff Olson, or the compound effect, a book written by Mr. Darren Harding. Now, what this applies is if you were with the company that was level, let's say, the company is, no super growth, but you come in with these right philosophies and you do the slight edge, the compound effect, you just keep going. Guys, I've done that, and I've gone to the top of a legal services company in 14 months and brought a half a dozen leaders with us to that executive level. And I'm here to tell you, it works. But in addition to that, the thing is this company is not static. Because of its commitment to excellence and the leadership, folks, we are improving almost on a weekly basis. The breakthroughs are coming so fast that it made me think about this 1000% formula, or vital functions theory, that I learned from Brian Tracy. What he mentions, and this is an analytical approach to the slight edge and compound effect. Now, and the way it works is, if you took all the key areas, all the key result areas of a company, and this works in our personal life as well, our body and everything else. But if you took all the key areas, when you improve in one area, it doesn't just, like, for example, out of these areas, the 10% improvement doesn't increase the output 10%. There's a compounding effect throughout the organization, and even a 10% improvement, folks, we can double our output with this. It's amazing, and I've gone through this. I've purchased 200 homes in 36 months, building a real estate machine. I've lived this, folks, and I've seen it, and I see it in this company, and that's why I really wanted to kind of put this across. Now, you would think that maybe a 20% improvement would increase it a little, but it just grows exponentially. So could Savings Highway improve 20% in these key areas? Well, if they did, that's 3.5 times output. What if they increase 30%? That's like 6 times the output. 40%, guys, a 10x. We hear about, can we 10x this company? Well, all we have to do is get a little bit better in these key areas, guys, and we can just compound like it's hard to even imagine right now. Now, here's a question. What if we doubled our effectiveness in these key areas? What if we doubled the product line in terms of a product value and just the offering, et cetera? Well, folks, I think we did this last weekend. I think we doubled the product. There's so many enhancements to the product that you're going to hear about from Chris Oliver, and you've already perhaps heard from Steve. But guys, all we have to do is get twice as good with the product, twice as good at the presentation, and twice as good at the enrollment, the engaging. And I know Tim Jones is working hard with the team. Guys, when we enroll people, when they come in, maybe at the 20, the company's going to be twice as good at enrolling people, and also retention. We're going to be twice as good at having information technology that's available to the leaders as a dashboard to build their business. The compensation, guys, is always getting better and better. And the leadership here is going to get better and better and better as we learn to work together, not to compete with one another, but to complete one another. And so, folks, these key areas are the areas that I see this company doubling its effectiveness in a very, very short period of time. Now, here's an exciting thing about this, is you don't have to actually make improvements across the board, right? There's a few key areas that if you like the product, that we just knocked this out of the park. I thought Steve's presentation last night knocked it out of the park. And what you're going to hear from Steve, or from Chris, excuse me. And with the upgrades and retention, we're knocking it out of the park. We're going to get better. So, folks, that's a 10x, just taking a few key areas and improving. Now, we're going to wrap this up, but so far we just talked about the company. But of course, the leadership is going to get better and better and better. Some of us are building machines, and we're one good lead generation, a co-op opportunity away from an explosion. Okay, just lead generation, one breakthrough there, guys, will just carry through and just explode. Well, explode the machines and the processes that we put in place. You're getting a little bit better at the presentation, a little bit better at the automation, a little bit better at the onboarding and training process, folks. And so when you take the company is compounding, the leadership teams are compounding, you guys, that will compound throughout your organization. So these are the reasons. This is what I see. You know, I've been part of some pretty large marketing opportunities and et cetera. And, you know, this is the opportunity that I have dreamed about for many, many years, folks. And your timing, if you're just coming on board, your timing could not be better, folks. And you know, like James Wood talked about in his training recently, he's like, you know, the leadership team here, guys, is so cohesive that that's one of the things that attracted him. And he's an incredible leader. And folks, we just keep attracting more and more incredible leaders. So, but these are just some of my thoughts. I'd like to conclude it with this last slide here, and that is, folks, this company's going somewhere. So it's time to consider the you factor, okay? So what I mean by that is this company has a level playing field. If you've ever wanted an equal opportunity, this is it, folks. Why? Because for all of us, the product is the same. For all of us, the compensation plan is the same. For all of us, essentially, the opportunity is the same. So it all comes down to you. It all comes down to the you factor. So folks, I'd like to ask you a question, or I'd like to make a statement and ask you a question, and I'm going to wrap up this part. Folks, I'm going to make a prediction that this time next year, there's going to be several people making hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual income, even some at the $1 million per year income. I believe that with all my heart, that that's what's going to be happening in the next 12 months. So I have a simple question for you. Are you going to be one of them? Are you going to be one of them? So folks, I believe your answer is yes. So with that, folks, let's do this together. Man, am I fired up. I'm so excited for the convention we just came from. I'm so excited to hear Chris Oliver's explanation, going in more detail of the compensation plan. So Jeff, thank you so much for inviting me to go ahead and share these thoughts. And I'd like to go ahead and turn it back to you, my friend.
Amazing job, Ken. I just want to give it back to you for your leadership and what you are doing for the company. Amazing. It was so great to see you in Atlanta. Cannot wait to see you in Las Vegas. And Ken is treating this like a business. He's putting together systems for his team and the company, and he's always looking for ways to take it to the next level. And that's what we're attracting. We're attracting business people, people that really want to grow Savings Highway to $1 billion company and complete the mission of 1 million families debt-free.